we're going to talk about how we feel about it, and then how the professionals, the psychiatrists, and etc. feel about it. The more you know, the better. The more you know, that's how you can handle a situation better, is that you get you some awareness, like my sister said. It's not just a saying. Autism awareness is not just a saying. And I know some people have gone on to acceptance, but the reality of today is a lot of people still are not aware, which meaning that a lot of people still don't know that much. They have this much knowledge, and the much knowledge that they got is from people that don't know what they're talking about. My opinion is, ideally, I think that anyone should get diagnosed by a healthcare professional. That would be the ideal situation. You should. If you think you're autistic, go to the healthcare professionals. I always say it. That's ideally. But if you can't do it, if you cannot, then I don't see nothing wrong with self-diagnosis, because ultimately you know your body. I got my emotional support beanie on today.
There you go.
Because I'm indoors. I was like, girl, why you got this beanie on? I was like, because, okay, I need it. Hi, welcome back to my podcast, Just Shay and Friends. And today I am back with Lex. Lex is back.
Hello, I'm back.
Yeah, it's been a while, but both of us needed some downtime, so we took a break from it. But we back.
Yeah.
Right? I saw something on TikTok that bothered my soul. I saw a post about somebody was just being really mean to a person that self-diagnosed with autism. And I ain't really say nothing at the time, because first of all, it wasn't my post, so it wasn't really my business. So I try to stay out of it. But I ain't say nothing also because I ain't know a lot about it. I don't know a lot about self-diagnosis. I didn't, but I do now, because I did the research. Y'all already know. I'll be according to my research. Y'all already know, Poindexter. I did the research, so I know something about it. So I thought I bring Lex along for this one, and we're gonna talk about it, okay? We're gonna talk about how we feel about it, and then how the professionals, the psychiatrists, and etc. feel about it also. And we're gonna talk about both sides, the good and why people might think that it's bad. So we can, you gotta have both sides before you make an informed decision about something. That's what I feel like.
Yeah.
So, and then you make a adult decision on which side you want to be on. Okay, that's how you do it. So I did already the legwork for y'all. I got y'all. Do we have any announcements? I don't think so. I don't think I got anything going on. How about you? I don't think so.
Nope, I don't think so.
No announcements, okay? Just keep watching. Just keep watching, because this channel is about to change. It's about to change. I can tell. I can feel it. I don't know which way it's gonna go. And actually, I don't even care about the fame part of it. I'm really kind of nervous about if it gets really big. I'm gonna be nervous.
Right.
But that's not what I'm concerned with. I'm concerned with, I said it this morning, if I can help one person, like, you know how, well, you're not a mom, but moms have like a lot of cries throughout the day. A lot of stuff happens, autistic moms especially. A lot of stuff happens, you gotta have a cry. You gotta go ahead and have a cry. But if I can stop you from having one of those cries, because now you know what to do about that situation, that's what I want to do. At least one person. Oh yeah. So today, I think it's really gonna start. The channel really gonna start coming together today, because now I have an idea. Because I realize how I'm so able to easily help, the other moms, because I'm helping them the same way I help myself with the experience, right? So every time Stacy starts struggling with something, now that I'm diagnosed, I start to think, how would I handle that, and what challenges would I face with that, or have I faced as a kid with that? Like, for example, when we were talking about potty training this morning on the live, I was just like thinking like how much that sucked for me as a kid. Potty training sucked for me. And I remember, I don't even remember what the bathroom looked like, because I just think that I blocked it from my memory. But I just remember hating going to the bathroom. Loud lights, for one, and the toilet. Don't get me started. I'm used to it as an adult, but the flushing toilet It was terrible when
Yeah.
I was a kid. It was like the loudest thing. I remember thinking there was a monster down there.
Aw.
Yeah, I know, little me. I had a wild imagination, girl.
I hated it too, and I would hold it in, and I swear that's part of why my bladder is so messed up now. And
Yeah.
I find myself with executive dysfunction, like when I'm already feeling low on energy, and it's like with my overactive bladder, I'd be holding it until the last second because I get so tired of stopping what I'm doing. If I'm
Hmm.
focusing on something, I gotta stop what I'm doing, go to the bathroom, pull down my pants. Like that sounds like each step is not that big of a deal, but when you put it all together, it's like pulling your clothes up and down,
And
and
it's,
then having
yeah.
to,
No,
hear
I
the
get
flush
it.
and then wash your hands and then try to go back to what you're doing, just
Sounds
to have to go again in
exhausting.
an hour. Like what?
Sounds exhausting when you put it step by step like that. God doggy.
Yeah,
And then the fact that you, like you said, you got to stop what you doing. I'm
yeah.
probably so focused in on what I'm doing and now, oh, but
Hmm.
for real, one thing I shared with my TikTok family, and I'm probably gonna put it on Instagram too, is that god dang don't even know when I gotta use the bathroom sometimes until it's like
Yeah,
so urgent that I'm about to, it's an emergency. I gotta run now. So that's why I have to go on the schedule. I go on the schedule just like I eat on the schedule.
right. Yeah, that makes sense because a lot of us struggle with interoception. Like our body's cues are just not what they should be.
I thought it was a great idea to use that to help other moms because the more you know, the better.
Hmm.
The more you know, that's how you can handle a situation better, is that you get you some awareness. Like my sister said, it's not just a saying. Autism awareness is not just a saying. And I know some people have gone on to acceptance, but the reality of today is a lot of people still are not aware, which
Yeah.
meaning that a lot of people still don't know that much. They have this much knowledge,
Hmm.
and the much knowledge that they got is from people that don't know what they're talking about. So that's
Right.
why you should listen to actually autistic people. We know what
Yeah.
we're talking about because we live that life. We live that life. Those are our credentials. That's
Yep.
what we're gonna talk about. We're talking about self-diagnosis. Self-diagnosed autism, and we're going to talk about reasons it's valid. We're going to each give you our opinions on it, and then we're going to talk about reasons that people think is bad and it's not valid. And these are all facts from credible sources, and I'm going to put those sources in the description for y'all to look at yourselves. They're credible. I checked them. Okay. All right. So first we're going to look at the first article is from verywellmind.com. And this article is written by a neurodivergent psychiatrist. Okay. So those are a lot of credentials in my eyeballs. You're a psychiatrist and you neurodivergent. Okay. So
And she diagnoses people, right? She is also a provider who assesses people and diagnoses them. I believe that article was.
is she?
I think so.
Okay.
One of the articles definitely was.
Oh, a professional. Okay, excuse us. Okay, we're just gonna start off. I'm trying to find where. Due to professionals misunderstanding the variety of ways that autistic traits can present, lack of resources for getting an official evaluation, and concern about having the label in a medical record, many individuals either cannot or choose not to seek a diagnosis from a qualified provider. So that's why it happens. Self-diagnosis is pretty much they have a like assessment thing that I saw online. What is it called again?
The RADSAR assessment.
RADS or assessment. They have that
Yeah.
assessment that I went in my research, I've seen a lot of people have done that to use that for self-diagnosis.
Yeah, I've taken that one too multiple times. I did it early on, but I do it every now and then just to see how I do on it, and I always score very similar, very high on it.
Yeah, really. So that's basically how people are. That's one of the ways people are diagnosing themselves. And there's more to it than that, but I ain't gonna get too much into the rats are and nothing like that. But it's a tool you can use. That's how some people are self-diagnosing, and they doing it because they might not be able to go to the professionals, or they have went to the professionals and the professionals did not understand that the ways that the autistic traits presented in them, because it's so different for
Yeah.
everybody. And then you got to consider, is it a female? She's going to
Yeah.
act way different than the males.
And
Is
they're
it?
still learning about masking, a lot of
Yes,
professionals, and that's
yes,
an issue too. People are denied a diagnosis because they mask during their assessment.
definitely, definitely. So I mean, having a professional that can, I mean, this would be the ideal situation. Okay, let me rewind back a little bit. My opinion is, ideally, I think that anyone should get diagnosed by a healthcare professional. That would be the ideal situation. You should. If you think you're autistic, go to the healthcare professional side. I always say it. That's ideally. But if you
Hmm.
can't do it, if you cannot, then I don't see nothing wrong with self-diagnosis, because ultimately
Right.
you know your body. You know. But you
Hmm.
might go in, if you're like me and Lex, you might go in to the evaluation unawares of how high masking you are. And the healthcare professional not gonna know. So ideally, if you can go into a healthcare professional that understands autism in the way that they understand that it presents different in everybody, and then look for those signs of that person may or may not be masking. I know that sounds so difficult. It sounds so difficult, because how can you tell if a person is masking or not? Like, even I don't know,
Right.
sometimes I be masking my own
Hmm.
self. So, but if the professional, hey, if one exists and you can go to it and you get diagnosed despite the masking, which it did happen for me that way. If that happens for you, then yes, go to a healthcare professional. But
Hmm.
I think if you can't, then self-diagnosis, I think, is valid. What
Yeah.
what do you think about that? You have anything to add?
I think I ultimately definitely support it. As the article does go on to list, there are certain potential risks involved that why
Mm-hmm.
someone might, in addition to a lack of access to the resources, they might choose not to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but ultimately, I think that a lot of people misunderstand and they think people are just watching one TikTok video and then self-diagnosing with autism. And I'm sure someone might have done that, but
Mm-hmm.
the overwhelming majority of people are not doing it that way.
Mm-mm.
And I think as long as you are doing it in an informed way, doing the research and, going over the DSM, either by yourself or with your family. Like initially during my own beginning of my process, I went over the DSM with my mom and wrote down notes to bring to the doctor with specific examples. Like a lot of people who self-diagnose, they do all of that. As long as you are doing it informed and you're not going on to spread misinformation in the process or speak over people, I don't see the harm because you
Mm-hmm.
can't access resources without a diagnosis. So it's not like you're taking resources away from anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So I support it as long as it's done the right way.
Yeah, I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. You said something profound there. If you're going about it, like, I doubt anyone is just watching one video and saying, I'm autistic. I doubt anyone's
Hmm.
doing that too. I agree with you there. But if you're going into it like that, like you just watch a couple of videos and you're like, I self-identify now, without actually having all the knowledge yourself and having any type of awareness for autism yourself, yeah, that's not good. That's terrible,
Hmm.
actually. You should never go into anything without at least a bunch of the information. And I've been dealing with my own autism for like 2 years. I got diagnosed 2 years, 2.5 years ago now, actually. Um, and I'm still learning stuff. Okay.
Hmm.
I'm still learning stuff. But if I were dealing with this for 2.5 years with no doctor diagnosis, I don't think I would be right now be saying, okay, yeah, I am. I don't think
Hmm.
I would be able to self-identify, because it took the doctors and my therapist and all that to identify it for me, actually. So it took that
Right.
happening. I wouldn't have been able to myself identify it, because I don't know, I didn't know myself. Okay, I'm still learning her.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely agree with you. You should never go into nothing without all the information. What in the world? And if anybody's doing that, you're wrong. Okay, please do your research. Please do your research and watch some more of these videos. It will really help you understand autism a lot more. So it says here in the middle, you were saying that they do autism evaluations.
Hmm.
Yeah, it says before anyone asks, I was officially diagnosed as autistic in 2021. I also conduct autism evaluations as a specialization in my clinical practice, and written a book, mental health,
Wow.
mental health books. Okay, so those are big credentials right there. Okay. Self-diagnosis is generally accepted in the autism community. So if you are not autistic and you're getting angry because people are self-diagnosing as autistic, uh yeah, I mean, for one, why you care? for one,
Yeah.
for
It's
one,
a
if
lot of
you're not
the
in the
parents
community,
that care.
say what?
It's a lot of the parents that care. They use their children. They're like, well, you're not like my child, so you can't be, and you're wrong. I notice it a lot from parents.
Oh yeah.
Um,
The comparison thing, yeah, that did happen to me, remember?
hmm.
That did
Yeah.
happen to me. She started comparing me to my child though, to Stacy.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, but I don't, if you're not in a community, I don't think, I don't know. I don't think you should be. Why does it worry you? Because it says right here that the autism community accepts it.
Right. And
So
even professionals are backing it, obviously.
yes, professionals are also backing it, psychiatrists, etc. A diagnosis should not necessarily be required for someone to identify as autistic, and 64% people agree with it. I agree with it too. I agree because
Yeah.
look at all the barriers. Look at all the
Yeah.
barriers to have an official evaluation. Look in the article. It could be it's insurmountable, and then you're like,
Hmm.
forget it. Then I don't care. But a
Yeah.
diagnosis is so important. If it is you, it's so important to understand who you are and continue with your life. It's
Yeah.
helped me out in a big way.
Yeah. Me too.
All right, some of the barriers we're talking about here. Cost.
Yep.
I'm about to faint just reading this. I'm about to hurt my wallet. On average, autism evaluations in the United States cost between $1,500 and $3,000 for children, and adult evaluations tend to cost even more. I don't even
Yeah.
want to talk about it. I don't even want
Yep.
to talk about it. It was a good thing I was settled in. I was still in the military then, and I had, what do you call those savings, rainy day ones? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I was able to afford it, but many cannot. Many cannot afford
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and not to mention knowing that, like, the stories of people who end up masking, especially for high masking people, like the fear of masking in your assessment and paying thousands of dollars just to end up seeing someone who isn't informed and being denied, then you got to start the whole process over again. That's defeating.
Oh my gosh, yes. I would, ooh, take me to the king. It would pay
Right.
another 1,500 or 3,000 or more.
Plus the wait time too.
Nah, no, ain't no way. No way. Coverage. Many insurance plans will deny coverage for autism evaluations, deeming them
Hmm.
not medically necessary.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think that's as much for kids.
No, it's not for kids usually.
Yeah, I don't think so because my insurance back in the day did cover it.
Yeah.
But autistic adults, look, this is why they self-identify. This is why they self-diagnose it.
Hmm.
Availability. According to a 2023 report in Cognoa, U.S. families seeking an autism evaluation for their child wait an average of 3 years before getting a diagnosis. Didn't you say that earlier? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Wait times for adults can take months to years, and very few autism evaluators even offer assessments to adults.
Yeah.
So those could be barriers. Also, evaluators can be wrong, and we already talked about that. They can be
Yeah.
so wrong because there's not a wide understanding of autism and how it can present. And like, and some people, I think a lot of professionals don't want to see it. The cultural
Yeah.
differences. You think that is just everybody is just on this line, and it's not.
Mhm.
It's not
And
like
then
that.
you end up getting like misdiagnosed with other things instead. And first they look at mental illness, personality disorders, and
Mm-hmm.
so you get hit with those diagnoses instead.
Mm-hmm.
Because I understand that part of the diagnostic process is to make sure that it can't be better explained by a different condition. But, you know, a lot of autistic adults who have gone their lives undiagnosed, like for me, I presented as borderline personality disorder first because I was falling apart. You know, I was
Mm-hmm.
undiagnosed. I was using substances to try to cope and function. And so I presented as someone with a personality disorder.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's terrible. The reason that the psychiatrist gave for why uh their evaluator said that they could not possibly be autistic, because apparently this happened to them too, even though I obtained elevated scores on the autism scale when they did the evaluation. The evaluators stated I was too good at communicating with them while I took the test, so they told me I was
Wow.
not autistic. And they also said that autistic people are rarely married and rarely work full time. And therefore, the fact that they
Oh my
had
God.
a husband and a career ruled them out. What in the world? But
Damn those stereotypes.
see, this is a healthcare professional telling this person this. So you
Mm-hmm.
can see how the barriers, even they don't know. They don't know what they're talking about half the time. Sometimes
Yeah.
they don't know. I'm not going to say all the time. Sometimes they don't know what they're talking about. Listen to what this person is saying. It's clearly wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's clearly wrong. But they knew about my husband and my job before they charged me to take all of those tests. They
Oh
still
my
charged them.
God.
They still took the money.
Wow.
I'm weak. I hate that
That's
for them.
crazy.
I hate that for
Yeah.
them. All right. So we talked about why people might self-diagnose. All right. It's necessary. Even the psychiatrist that has all these degrees probably had an own
Yeah.
issue with their own diagnosis. Okay.
Yeah. And the article does also state some risks, like how 8 states have a state registry list where they keep track of autistic people.
What?
Yeah, it could affect immigration, um, medical discrimination. I also know from my own research, it could affect life insurance policy rates, which for parents, that's important for themselves to get life insurance policies. I've heard of people being charged like twice as much because they have an autism diagnosis.
What in the
And
world?
also, like I know the state of Missouri, for example, they will deny transgender, like gender affirming care if you have an autism diagnosis because they basically say you're incompetent and you couldn't possibly consent.
Oh wow.
And a lot of autistic people are trans. You know, it's very common to be
Wow.
part of the LGBTQ community if you're autistic.
Wow. The misinformation just goes all around. The healthcare professionals are very much misinformed on what autism is, but they're still learning. And I've
Hmm.
been doing a lot of research about what they know so far, and it seems like they're catching up. It seems like it is the scientists, at least, they catching up, I think. So
Yeah.
it's just a matter of time before there's more information and everybody can freely get it. Not freely, and I'm sure it's not going to be free, but everybody
Right.
can get a better diagnosis from the healthcare professionals. But for now, this is
Yeah.
what we have. The next
Hmm.
article is from Autism BC. This is the reasons why. Now, y'all know our opinion. We think it's valid. I think it's valid. And I think if you got to do it, then you should do it. But answer those questions honestly. Don't be misinformed about autism. Study up first and then take your test. And then you can
Yeah.
even better understand the results for real. This is reasons autism self diagnosis is valid. And this is also a credible source. I looked them up as well. So it says many people believe autism diagnoses aren't valid unless they're supported by a doctor. And that's facts, because that's why I even started doing this podcast, because I saw people arguing in comments about it. It's inaccessible. They said they repeat some of the same things we say because of all the barriers. Lots of autistic people have already been traumatized in the healthcare system That was a
Yeah,
that was a me too laugh. Okay, lots of autistic
right.
people have already been traumatized in the healthcare system before they get a diagnosis and might not trust professionals to give them what they need. And here it go right here. If an autistic person has self-diagnosed, it's very likely they've done extensive research already. So that will even that will allow you right there to even mind your business further because they already did their research,
Yeah,
most likely.
it's it's very likely that if someone is, claiming that they're autistic and they're self-diagnosed, there's a good chance that they have a lot more knowledge about autism than whoever is trying to tell them that they can't be autistic.
No,
Like,
for
there's a
real.
good chance that person did their research and they have more knowledge. So,
No, really. Really. That's why I be minding my business because you don't know what that person knows and you don't know what they even going through in life. They only showing you a
mhm.
small little video.
Yeah, and you also, you see all of these people who say that, discovering that they're autistic has saved their lives. Look at all of those stories. So trying to gatekeep it can cost someone their lives. Look at the
Mm-hmm.
suicide rates and stuff for autistic people. I mean, I think gatekeeping causes a lot more harm than just accepting it, as long as, obviously there's nuance, which we're discussing right now, but
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I don't get why anybody would. It says here that I don't get why anybody would make it up for attention. I'm sure, I mean, because somebody's saying it, I'm sure somebody has done it over the years.
yeah.
But that I just don't understand. I don't think
But
nobody is faking it for attention because the
yeah.
attention that you get ain't always positive.
Right, it's negative attention, and
Yeah.
it's not like you get access to resources with a self-diagnosis. As long as the people who are doing this are not going around and spreading misinformation that causes harm to the community, I don't see the problem. Let them get their attention that way then. As long as they're not spreading
Yeah.
misinformation.
Right.
Like, who
Facts.
cares?
What
There's
business
bigger
is
fish
it
to
of
fry.
yours if they're getting attention?
Go champion a cause that actually matters.
I don't understand. Yeah, I don't understand.
Right.
And somebody always gonna say something to offend you. Somebody
Yeah.
always going to, always, because there's not a lot of awareness because people don't know. So somebody
Hmm.
says, look, on sometimes when I talk about autism with people that just don't know that much about it, I would prefer you just not to comment sometimes because you
Yeah.
say stuff and it hurts my feelings because it's not like, no, it's not like that.
Yeah, those people cause a lot more harm than the people who are self-diagnosing
Yeah,
by far.
sadly.
Like these people who are going around trying to like fake claim people or like question their diagnosis or invalidate a self-diagnosis, those people are causing so much more harm than the people who are just being like, yeah, I'm self-diagnosed.
So the article basically wrap up, and the article basically says, I just paraphrasing, basically say that if you find an autistic adult that has said that they self-diagnosed, ultimately they are adults and they're identifying themselves as adults that are mature enough to make decisions about their own lives. You just got to trust that they did their research, they know what they're talking about. That's basically what I
Hmm.
got from that. They know
Yeah.
what they talk. They already did their research. They have been experiencing things that sound similar with the things that they research, and that's why they're now going to do the self evaluation. And like I said, I still don't see nothing wrong with it. Let me go to the last little article because there was some good information in here. So, although we do support, I do, and you just correct
Hmm.
me if I'm wrong. Although we do support self diagnosis, I do think that you could F it up for yourself if you're not doing it right. So, these are some of the things that could happen from a self diagnosis because the more you're informed, the better decisions that you can make. So, self diagnosis of autism can lead to an inaccurate conclusion. It just says here that there are many problems with self diagnosis. This is the other side of this person believes that people shouldn't do it. I don't think people shouldn't do it, but I'm taking information to tell y'all what could go wrong because some of the stuff they saying is facts. Clinicians have special medical training, which is true. Special medical training. They ain't all professional on you, but they do have the medical training. The medical training guides their decision making process to provide the diagnosis. And the average person ain't a doctor, basically. The average
Right.
person is not a healthcare professional, basically. So that's why I said, if you can, go to the doctors. So
Hmm.
I'm gonna put that plug in right there. What you think about that?
Yeah, I agree. And I remember seeing an article also mention that, like, it could be something else, like anxiety can look very similar. And all of
Mm-hmm.
that, is also true. And that's all stuff that people, typically do and should consider in the process. But ultimately, like after reading the whole article, my thoughts in response was basically that, like I said before, as long as people, even if they are incorrectly self-diagnosing, as long as they aren't going around and spreading harmful misinformation and, harming the community that way, as
Mm-hmm.
long as they're not doing that, like, so what if they're wrong? Because so many people do accurately self-diagnose, and a lot of people who are professionally diagnosed, they self-diagnose first, and that's how they got their
Mm-hmm.
diagnosis because they went on the whole, they went through the process.
Right.
So I think as long as you're doing it in an informed way and you're being respectful and not causing harm to the community and you're not speaking over people who are diagnosed, then,
Mm-hmm. So you're saying is, what you're saying is, if somebody does misdiagnose, then that's their business basically.
yeah,
They're only potentially harming themselves unless they
yeah,
going out there telling people this is what, autism is, and they saying the wrong stuff,
right.
basically.
Yeah.
I
Because
agree with that.
it's not like they're sucking up resources from people who need them
Oh,
more because there are no resources
yeah,
for
you don't get none.
self-diagnosed people. Yeah.
You
So as
don't get
long as
none.
you're respectful and you're informed about the way you're doing it, I 100% support it.
I feel you on that one. This one is one that took me a real long time to process. You cannot see yourself objectively. This is another reason why this person thinks that people shouldn't self-diagnose. You can't see yourself objectively. No one can. A clinician can ask you specific questions to understand how your experiences fit into a diagnostic framework. They out This outside viewpoint is critical to accurate diagnoses. And I agree with that to a certain extent because, like I said, I don't think if my therapist had never said, you need to look into this, I don't think I ever would have looked into it for myself. So,
Hmm.
yes, you cannot see
Yeah.
yourself objectively. Yeah, I agree with them. I agree with them. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I agree too. And that's why I do think, in terms of correctly self-diagnosing, I think people should speak to family members to help get history. And like I said, they should
Mm-hmm.
sit down in addition to like those self-tests with
Yeah,
like
like
the
you
red blood
did with
cells
your
on its
mom.
own cannot be
Mm-hmm.
like that test alone can't be accurate because I've heard that people who like only have anxiety can score high on that test too. But if you also actually go over the diagnostic criteria with somebody, if you can't do it with a parent, with somebody who has known you for a while and you sit down and you go over, those traits from childhood through adulthood. And then if you do choose to go on and get diagnosed, like that was really helpful for me to bring to my doctor because then I had specific examples and I was like, look, I've gone over this with my mom and here is how this presented in childhood and this is how it presents now. And that was, the professionals were able to better help me that way. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that could also work in the self-diagnosis process is getting outside perspective from someone who does know you and who is also willing to educate themselves about autism. Obviously, it shouldn't be someone who knows nothing about it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That definitely, you said that. You said that talking to somebody that knows you. I had the luxury of having a black mom that likes saying embarrassing stuff about me. So I knew a lot about my childhood. Even if I didn't
Yeah.
remember it, she did. But yes, talk to your family members if you do have
Hmm.
to self-diagnose, and you realize you can't see yourself objectively, which is true. Yeah,
Yeah.
but you got people around you, or if you have people around you that have been around you since you were a kid, that it would help to talk to them. Like, yeah, you do this, and don't be like, no, I don't. Like, listen to them, because
Hmm.
half the time you don't see yourself doing something until somebody says it, and then the next time you go do it, you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, they're right. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So yeah, The third one, you cannot get access to medical treatment without an official diagnosis. Even if you do self-diagnose accurately, therapy can greatly help you, but you won't have access to insurance coverage and etc. without a medical diagnosis. That's why he's saying this person is saying that people shouldn't self-diagnose because they right. You're not gonna get. We already told you that you're not gonna get
Hmm.
no benefits, no nothing. You, which I think
Yeah.
we getting checks or something. If you getting a check, I want to know, Lex.
Right. No, I'm not. I wish.
Y'all getting y'all autism check or what? I ain't get one. Okay, ain't nobody getting no checks.
Yeah,
Not as an
for
adult, you
real.
not. Nobody getting no
Yeah,
checks.
if you nobody that's self-diagnosing is getting a check. Anybody who's
No.
autistic and is getting a check, it's because they are so disabled by it. Like there's no way you're gonna
Yes.
make it to adulthood and, get a level 3 diagnosis that they're gonna give you disability benefits for. There's no way.
Right. Absolutely. You said that. No, for real. But this shouldn't deter you. I believe this person put that bit of all these bit of informations in there to deter people from doing self-diagnosis. But hey, I'm swiping off
I
of it because
I think it's stuff people should consider on like if they are going to pursue it or not. Like there are
yep.
people who have said that for them, just knowing and being able to learn and seek like community online is enough for them, and they find the risks
Yes.
are not worth it. So they are happy with self-diagnosing, and that's
Yeah.
enough for them. It depends.
Yes, absolutely. Because ultimately, the person is not doing it for the gain of no benefits because they're not there. Okay. If they're doing it for the gain of attention, who cares? Let them have their
Yeah.
attention. It's not, if as long as they're not hurting nobody, like Lex said, or
Yeah.
spreading misinformation, like Lex said, because then I'm gonna jump in and I'm gonna be like, actually, with my Poindexter
Hmm.
behind them,
Yeah.
actually.
I've
And so
got to
is Lex.
say, in my time on social media, I have seen a lot of people who have said that they self-diagnosed, but I personally have never seen someone who said they self-diagnosed who was also stating like incorrect information. I have not run into that.
Yeah, neither have I. And I don't even know that I have seen a lot of people that are self-diagnosed be like, I'm self-diagnosed and I think you should listen to me.
Right.
I haven't seen that. I'm sure people are out there giving advice and etc. But it's up to
Yeah.
you, the watcher, to accept the advice or not. Okay, you
Hmm.
don't have to bash them because they self-diagnose. It don't mean they're any less informed than an actual diagnosed from a doctor person. It doesn't mean that. But hey, it's up to you to accept the advice or not. Like any advice that I give you, okay? I be giving y'all my
Hmm.
credentials. Okay, my credentials are I'm autistic. I have an autistic son. Okay, and I'm 42. Okay, that should be enough. I'm
Yeah.
42. I've been living for a long time. Those are my credentials. But you still don't have to listen to me. You
Yeah.
still don't have to. It's up to you. So, yeah, I just want the bullying to stop. Let people exist in the same space as you. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? But
Yeah.
yeah,
I totally agree.
that's all I got to say about it. And I think we talked about it. But hey, I just want y'all to see all sides of self-diagnosis. So this should give you a lot more information to go off of, and then do further research if you want to. And with
Yeah.
all that information you just been given, and then more information that you look up, because I'm sure you already doing it if you watching this. I'm sure you already doing research with all that information. If you think that you're autistic, if you watch some of the videos that I put out there for y'all, because I'm trying to find y'all for real. If you watch some of the
Mhm.
videos and you're like, man, like I'm resonating with this stuff. I'm resonating with Shay. I could see some, and I already been having problems. It's just that now Shay is putting it visual for me. If you're like that, if you can, you should do the evaluation with a doctor if you can do it. If you cannot do it, then go ahead, self-diagnose. There's
Yeah.
a form. I forgot what it's called again. What is it called?
What, the test?
The evaluation. Yeah,
Yeah, it's called the RADS-R. It's spelled RAADS-R. It's on the Embrace Autism website.
embrace autism. Rads are
Yeah.
okay. I heard it was long. Is that true?
It's 80 multiple choice questions.
What the heck? What the heck? I wonder if it's like similar to the test that like the professionals be giving you.
Some I've heard some professionals will use that in addition to other tools. They don't just use that one on its own.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, because they have those tools. This RASR test is readily available for anybody to use, and it's free if I
Yeah,
am not mistaken.
it is free.
So, so it's a tool out there. The tool was put out there for people to use. So I think it's okay to use it.
Yeah, and it could be a good starting point too if you do want to get professionally diagnosed, but you want to make sure before you spend the time and money, it's
Mm-hmm.
definitely a good starting point. Just like and also like I said, going over the actual DSM, the diagnostic criteria for autism,
Mm-hmm.
and relating your traits from childhood through present. That's very helpful. And whether you're self-diagnosing or taking those notes to a doctor, I think it will be helpful either way.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's right. So hey, yeah, do your research, do your homeworks, and hey,
Yeah.
if you resonate with the neurodiversity, hey, it's okay. Self-diagnose if you can't get diagnosed by a professional. That's it,
Yeah.
and that's all. And we said it, and we not taking it back.
That's all.
Leave people alone. All right. Okay. Hope this helps somebody. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.